Yeah, I think we should begin now. I think it's 10 o'clock on the spot. So we should start with our program now.
Okay, that's great.
All right. I'll hand it over to you. Let me welcome everyone. Hope everybody has joined. Yeah, everyone has joined. So the floor is yours, Dr. Chigome.
Okay, thank you very much, Humphrey, for getting everything started. I think what I will do in the next, I think maybe about 10 minutes, I will just give a brief introduction, welcome remarks to what we're trying to achieve from the mini conference today. So I just started my my talk, or should I say comments, materials for African development. I think that's what we're here for. So my name is Samuel Chigome. I'm the president of the African Materials Research Society. So what I will do is I'll just give an overview as guided by this outline. I'll talk about IMRS, I'll talk about AMRS, I'll talk about our activities, and then most importantly, our partnership with the ARUA CoE-MEN. Professor Konishi will talk more about it, and I think you all hear more about what exactly is going on. So I'll just give some highlights to show the linkages that are there. So in terms of what our main objective is as the African Materials Research Society, we look at how we can promote excellence in all aspects of materials research. So in terms of how we do it, I think things have been changing over time. So it is best to have a holistic approach to materials research. So I think what we've been involved in is not only the materials research aspect, but then also the aspects of policy, education, promoting entrepreneurship, because we know that is important to be very practical. And then also the linkages, multi-sector linkages, particularly looking at industry, university, research institutes, partnerships. So I'll just highlight a few things that we've been involved in. Obviously, I can talk about everything because of the time. I'll just highlight a few things. So in terms of what we do, we have specific thematic areas that I think have been driving our activities. And I think you can see that within the framework of the conference today, everything is already covered by the thematic areas that we have as AMRS. And then in terms of how to get the work done, obviously we have the secretariat team. There's Humphrey who's going to be doing most of the chairing. And we also have the other colleagues that are involved that are in the background. I think you've been getting emails from Kitso. I think that's a familiar name. And then the other team members and also other team members from all the 5 regions in Africa. And then we have our board at MRS. Professor Konish is one of the board members. Professor David Dodoarin is also one of the board members. So I think these are some of the team members that you will see that are part of the speakers, and the rest of them to be able to work as a team where we have the global presence of people that can give a diverse view to materials research. So in addition to us being the secretariat office in Botswana, because of our activities, we have been elevated to become the first ever regional office in Africa of IUMRS. So in terms of our involvement, we no longer focus only on Africa, but we look at the global view where we link up with the global materials research societies. So this is a good thing because it helps to have that global linkages in terms of materials research. So in terms of some of the activities that we've been involved in, we have a strategic partnership with the UNECA. We are focusing primarily on promoting nanotechnology in Africa. So initially we looked at these 4 thematic areas that I've got here. And in the process, we had some of our members of MRS benefiting. Looking at Southern Africa, we have about 3 that benefited. 2 of them, they got $15,000 each for their projects in nanomaterials. And then there's one who, it was more for top-up funding, a student from Botswana who spent some time at Nanolund in Sweden. So all these activities that we've been involved in over 2 years, right now we're working on sort of like a concluding book of all our activities, which we hope to publish, I think, sometime this year. That's what we're working on. So in terms of some of the highlights, as I mentioned to you, that is a holistic view. We're also working on the implementation of a Pan-African curriculum in material science and nanotechnology. The curriculum is already in place. We're just finalizing the aspect of the funding to have this in place. And then the other aspect is that we've also been involved in nanotechnology policy. Research and innovation nanotechnology bootcamp that we've been involved in, where we try to bring together different speakers And then we are also working on a entrepreneurship in nanotechnology program that involves UNESCO. And then the other thing that we've also been working on is getting Nobel laureates to come and give talks to our participants in Africa. So you can see that there's an aspect of nanotechnology, Professor Feringa, and then Professor Whiting, I'm talking about lithium-ion batteries. And then the other aspect that is also there is that we also look at how we can make sure that there's a linkage of all material researchers in Africa. So we've been working on creating a database of all material researchers to link up the institutes, how we can access equipment and all. But then we realized that we can work on our own. So we've been working on linking up with the International Science Council, because they've already started something. So we can just link up to ensure that at least we can be able to maximize in terms of creating a database that is effective. So it is based on this background. I just added a few things, just how we end up getting to the partnership that we established with ARUA CoE-MEN. So the whole idea that was there was that because of what we are involved in as the African MRS, how can that sort of add value to what ARUA Center of Excellence, Materials, Energy and Energy are involved in. So I think one of the things that is there is the ability to reach out to maybe a wide network, the coverage to look at the whole of Africa, and obviously to be able to look at the rest of the world. So that's how we're able to establish the partnerships. So we're working together, and the conference that we're going to have today is something that also we're looking at how we can continue that sort of partnership to spread out and look at the mission that ARUA CoE-MEN has got, which is one of them being looking at capacity building and research in materials, material science, material research, promoting students in terms of how you can have I think maximum collaboration, interaction with different researchers. So I think basically looking at the mission of ARUA CoE-MEN, how we could be able to work together. So that's something that we've been able to do, looking at making use of the platforms that we already have. We have a website that was created that exists on the main MRS page. So if you visit that website, you'll be able to get all the recordings about the different webinars, different activities that ARUA CoE-MEN is involved in. And then also we have there's a podcast platform. If you visit, I think Kitso and Africa are probably going to share with you. You'll be able to get more information about what exactly is ARUA CoE-MEN involved in. So if you visit this, and I think we have several other platforms that we use to constantly communicate with the whole world, with all of Africa, you can be able to benefit from all those platforms. So in a way, we are a facilitator to ensure that at least the message reaches out to all of Africa. So for the conference today, I think as of this morning, just before we started, we looked at the numbers of people that had registered. So I think we had set some targets for ourselves in terms of what we're hoping to achieve. So our goal was to be able to reach out to all the 55 countries. Unfortunately, at the time of the conference, I think it's slightly less than 50% because we're 25 out of 55 represented. And then well, at least all the 5 regions were covered. So at least we know that whatever message is going to come out from the conference, at least to reach out to all the 5 regions in Africa. And then we're also looking at reach out to all the 7 continents. As it stands, I think we're just about at 5 out of 2, which I think is okay because it's more than 50%. And then we're looking at reaching out to at least 500 people. I think, as you know, that it's a stepwise approach. You initially have maybe a certain group of people, and then they receive the message, and then they can be able to spread out to other people. So as it stands, I think we're at about 292 out of 500 people. And then I think the numbers below just show you the distribution in terms of maybe each of the regions of Africa. So I just thought I should just give some of these comments at the beginning to just give a perspective of how MRS is involved, what are we doing, and how we see ourselves getting involved to promote the activities of ARUA CoE-MEN in terms of the use in materials research for the development of Africa. So I think with those few remarks, I would like to thank all of you for joining, and even those that are probably going to join in a few minutes after this, and welcome you all to the first edition of the conference series that we're going to have. I think today our theme is materials, energy, and nanotechnology.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Chigome. To the attendees, if you have any questions, can you drop them at the Q&A? Then we will find a way to address them, because we are really working on a very tight schedule. So we'll try to have Q&A at a later stage. So just leave those questions on the Q&A tab, and then we will try to capture them, then direct them to anyone who you want them to answer them.